now I'm going to go around and look for my collateral. Best option, your gutters, okay? And I've already got a spot for gutters right here. So if you see a clear dent like that, okay, and there's no distortion or scratching of the painting, hailstones do not scratch. Okay, rocks do. Maybe a rock kicked up from a lawnmower will. But this is a good example of hail that struck this gutter. You're trying to get the waist and up, okay? I'm not saying there aren't any dents down here. Like for example here, all right, there ain't a hailstone on the planet Earth that's gonna cause a chunk of aluminum to break open, okay? And if there was, it'd be a lot bigger than that hole. That's not hail. Now you can either circle it, or in the case of this dent here, which is a little lower than I like, but you know, for the video's purposes, you can actually run your chalk over. You'll see the adjusters do this all the time, and it'll kind of clear out a dented area, right? So it's either way you want to do. You do need to mark these with chalk, okay? You don't want to leave it up to the claim handlers to figure out what you're trying to show them as being hail or not. Again, I'm going to do this around the entire property. Now I mentioned screens, okay? I know I got window screens there, but they're about 5 feet in, and it's going to take a heck of a wind blow to damage any of those screens. So I mean, it's not reasonable to assume that the damage there is from hail, but it's possible. So, you know, if it looks like hail damage, I'm not saying to not write it, but, you know, save yourself some time. Hail is going to come in at a 70-degree angle, and it doesn't happen to hurricanes either. Here's a good example of some hail. Here's a piece that I found, right? Okay, that I kind of shaded, and it is indented there. It's above my waist, okay? Here's one, it's a little lower than waist, but it looks a lot like the other one. It's very reasonable, if you look, that this hail could have blown in from this side, okay? And keep in mind, this is the right side of the roof, and if I have dents on the right side gutters, I'm gonna try to find hail on the right slope. I'm gonna tell you I have a gutter on that side damaged, could have been damaged this way, gutter on this side damaged. I'm definitely looking at this right slope for a hail square, okay? And then I'm going around the rest of the property. I've already kind of gone over this, but it's kind of plastic. Sometimes plastic can get up, can get spatter. Again, if you're unsure, I mean, I do see spots all over, and that's what spatter looks like. Take a photo. If you're unclear about something, you know, that's fine to take a photo. I'd rather have it than not have it, right? And let the claim handler make the assessment of it. But I mean, hopefully you've gone over the rest of the training materials and you got a pretty good idea what spatter is and what spatter isn't. All right, now we've got a AC vent here, unit. A lot of times AC units can get damaged. But if you look up, why don't you take a panoramic around, I got a tree here, a tree here, a tree here, a tree here. Any hail that's gonna hit this thing, okay, is not going to make it and cause any kind of spatter or damage is not really going to work with the trees. Doesn't mean there wasn't hail. It just means that there's probably not going to be any spatter on this. Okay. That being said, if you got a question, things like screens, soft metals, it's okay to take photos of. We're just not trying to do a video diary of the person's entire house. I mean, if you've got a hurricane that is hit, okay, or you're talking with serious winds, this very well could be a hurricane issue. This window is a good example of where we could have actually some hail collateral. We could have some holes in the screen. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna look all over it, okay? I notice a lot of play in this screen. If you need to, take a video of the play. So our guy can say, hey, there's no holes in the screen, but it's really loose. It's gonna absorb the impact of a hailstone. So it's reasonable to assume that there wouldn't be any there. Now I've got another soft metal here. I believe I looked it all over and I didn't find anything, which would make sense if the hail's coming from this side, this wouldn't reasonably be hit. Hail's not gonna hit all over the roof. You're not gonna need to square on every single slope. Generally, it's gonna be wind driven to an extent, and it's gonna hit directly, some roof parts perpendicularly, and it's gonna glance off like the other slope. So if you got a hail square on your right slope, don't put one on the left slope, because all that's going to do is tell the insurance company that all this hail is from different storms. And remember, we're trying to prove that there was a peril on this property, okay? And by peril, I mean hurricane, wind, or hail, and that peril caused legitimate damage to the property, okay? That's how you keep from having a denial. If the insurance company says one shingle is damaged, they've admitted both, that there's a peril and that there was legitimate covered damage. We'll get the whole roof bought by that, okay? But The denials come from when your storm date sucks or the damage you find isn't from a covered peril. Okay, so you're talking about actual wear and tear, and they can make the case that it's wear and tear even if it's hail if your storm date's bad. Again, on this side, I do have what could be hail hits. All right, now it is on the wrong side from my other, you know, from where my other hail collateral is, but take your photos anyway, you know, just in case. Because that does look like hail, whether it came from that storm or not. Our claim handlers are just going to show photos of the damage. Okay, so you just find all the collateral you can, provided it's legitimate collateral, unless it's just clearly in a spot that's not really in good faith. Something like this might have some spatter, I don't see any. And then you're done, you know. Now there's going to be, on the roof, there's going to be other collateral we're going to look at. But generally, once I've done these two inspections, I'm ready to get on the roof.